The domain that we have created yesterday got corrupted because we connected the wrong admin server. So I'm going to remove that domain by simply deleting the directory and recreate the domain again. Alright, so I'll connect to this box, run the config.sh and create a domain, OSB domain. We'll be doing it in the GUI format. So let's go ahead. In the meantime, our database, our servers, nothing is actually up. So we'll be bringing up those things also. Let's enable X11. Bring it up. Okay, let's connect to 3. New session. Enable X11 forwarding. Students. OSB3. Oracle. Middleware 2. User projects, domains. This is what we have created yesterday. I'm going to move it. The OSB domain, the one that got corrupted. Okay, so this is our OSB domain. We'll be creating a fresh one now. Let's go ahead and create a fresh OSB domain. Oracle OSB, common bin, launch the config.sh. In the meantime, let's start the database on the first server. Oracle SQL plus /SSTPM. Startup. Okay. Now this is on the domain creation screen. Move on. Select the enterprise manager, Oracle service bus. These two. That's it. Let's move on. give the name OSB domain. This is going to throw an error here. It says the applications directory already exists because we already created it. Let's see. You see, the application directory specified contains files. Applications may be overwritten. Applications may only be returned to an empty directory. So this basically says this directory is already has that em.er. Either you can change the directory or go ahead and remove that directory. Either way it's okay. So let's say I change the directory here. I changed it to applications 1 directory. I remove the existing one. I empty the existing one. That's also okay. Move on to next. Username encode ADM. Encode ADM 123. Encode ADM 123. Production mode Sun JDK. Move on to next. Here we are not doing anything, no metrics collection, no reporting. So we are not selecting or setting up this thing. Move on to next. Move on to next, this one. Finish. Admin server, this is OSB admin. Listen address 192.168.128.3. Listen port 11,000.0.0.1. On to next. UDTs, that's okay. OSB server 1 192.168.128.3. This is going to be 11,100. On to next. No clusters, next. No machines, next. Next. File stores as they are, next. Create. Here are the summary. Create it. In the meantime, the database is up. Start the listeners. Let's start the admin server of server cluster. OSB3. Oracle middleware user underscore projects domains and code B3 cluster bin start admin.sh admin.log. So this will be coming up, the admin server of cluster. This is created, done. So let's open up a session on it. This is the second box. Students OSB3 Oracle middleware 2. Right, I'm doing a little fast, so if you lost track, just stop me. This is our newly created domain this time. So OSB domain. I'm going to create the builder properties. mkdir-p server name, first thing OSB admin, security mkdir-p servers OSB server 1 security. Alright, create a boot.properties file. Username equal to encode ATM, password equal to encode ATM 123. Copy this boot.properties everywhere. Servers OSB admin security. Copy the boot.properties to servers OSB server 1 security. Alright, remove this boot.properties. Okay, Now let's go ahead and create the wrap scripts. This is in running mode. Let's start server 1. SCP this start admin, and this starts over server 1 to the remote box. I'm copying multiple boxes, multiple files at a time. 3, this location. Okay, both files copied, so you have them here. Modify them. Start admin.sh. Alright, everything else will remain same. Save it, close it. VI start server. Remove this. Now disconnect to the right server, admin server 3. This is going to be 11,001. Name of this one is going to be OSB underscore server 1. Alright, save it, closed. This was what causing a problem last time. We connected to the wrong admin, so it downloaded the wrong server. So this also has to change. This is OSB server 1. Alright, so this sounds good. Let's go ahead and start the server. So start the admin first. This is our OSB admin. So let this come up. In the meantime, server 1 is coming up. So I'm going to start the second one of the server cluster. Server cluster second node I'm starting on this box. I'm doing multiple things at a time, guys. So I'm starting the infrastructure of the backend and also the OSB setup at a time. So don't get confused. This is server thing. User projects, domains, code cluster, code bin, start the second server. So this is also coming up. Right, so this is our server cluster. This is our OSB admin server. OSB admin is up, so let's start the OSB managed servers. I'm going to rename this thing. Just check it one more time. This is OSB domain. Okay, start manage server, OSB server. This is OSB admin server. Everything looks good. Let's start the OSB server. So on the background here, the cluster server is coming up this way. This is OSB managed server. Let's log into the enterprise manager of our cluster. This is a port number where our cluster admin server is listening. So let's log in there. Second server of the cluster is still coming up, guys. This is OSB admin, OSB managed server. And we are trying to log into the enterprise manager of the cluster. This is also only one is up. Second one of the cluster is still coming up. This is OSB. This is OSB server 1. Where is our cluster? This is our cluster.
Anil, a quick question. Like in the WebLogic admin console, if two servers are in a cluster, and when it shows the second one is running, and but the what you call the status says running, but the health, there is no right mark against the health check. What does it mean?
Check it in the logs.
Checked in the logs, there are quite a few, like no serious, like severe errors there, but I see one or two there, like warnings, and I think one or two errors are there.
Okay.
But status is showing as running, but in the the health, there is no check mark against it.
Okay. Is there any issue with the application?
That part I don't know, like it's not yet.
If there is nobody reporting anything for some time, then you can ignore it.
Okay.
Okay, here see this thing, the OSB reporting is throwing an error because we did not create a reporting thing. You can ignore this exception because we don't want OSB JMS reporting. So this one, GMS reporting data manager failed to deploy during server startup because we did not create the reporting part. The database tables were not available. So our OSB server is in running mode. This OS server is still coming up. Okay, now that OSB is up, let's go to the OSB console. OSB has an enterprise manager that we have deployed, but there is really nothing to do in the enterprise manager. So here, if you go into OSB enterprise manager, 11001, OSB is also a domain and we have deployed enterprise manager in it, so you can actually log into OSB enterprise manager also, but there's nothing to do over there. OSB has another console called SB console, and that's where all the OSB related admin activities get done. What's happening to this one? Looks like there is a firewall on it. Let's try to stop the firewall. These IP tables is the firewall on Linux, so I just stopped the firewall. That was a problem. So let's go back. If you look at Enterprise Manager, /em is the Enterprise Manager. So this is the Enterprise Manager of the cluster, which is on 6 with 7100 port. This is the Enterprise Manager on OSB domain. I given the same password everywhere, username, password. So this OA domain, OSB domain has the same username, password, encode ADM, encode ADM 123. Let's move on. This is all OSB. The red mark you are seeing is the reporting application not deployed. So this one, GMS reporting not deployed. And in OSB, you will see a lot of ALSB, Ecologic Service Bus. ALSB is the original product from BA. Ecologic Service Bus has been renamed as OSB, Oracle Service Bus, but the applications, everything still remains same. Ecologic Service Bus, they are all. So there is nothing here to do basically, right? The most of the work you will have related to OSB is on SB console. So I'm going to open another browser just to distinguish it. Firefox, let's say. On Firefox, I'm going to open the SB console. SB console also accessible at the admin server 11001, but with context SB console, service bus console. I'm going to close this. Let's see if that Sovan fries up. The second server did not come up yet. So server 2 is still down. It's almost up. It's almost up. I think the second box is overloaded. It's overloaded. Now the second one is also up of the cluster. Okay, we'll come back to the cluster part later. Let's go to the SB console. This is SB console. See this one, Oracle Service Bus 11G Administration Console. Username, password, encode ADM, encode ADM 123. This is your OSB console. Anything related to OSB like proxy server creation, business server creation, business service creation, and any alterations between proxy and business service, everything has to be done from here. This is similar to the other two consoles we have seen, like the regular WebLogic console or the Enterprise Manager. It's more like WebLogic console. You have a lock and edit mechanism here, allows you to create and everything. And below, if you come down, this area is the most important area. Basically everything happens here. So we're going to use this one to integrate our WebLogic, our SOA cluster to this one. So let's see what we are trying to do here. This is our SOA cluster. Alright, so we got both the SOA domains, SOA nodes up. There is no application deployed. Let's deploy an application first. I'm going to deploy an application, a demo application or something. Let's go on here, as for deployment, deploy. On to next. Still showing source server down. It can't show source server down. That must be a problem. Because on the left side you are able to see main source server is up. It already detected it. Even if it shows on the right side, probably it's taking more time to get reflected. That's it. The Enterprise Manager has already detected that so entry is up. That's the reason we are able to see on the left side. So I don't have to worry about the right part. It will get updated in a couple of minutes. Alright, so our demo application is deployed. It's already synchronized on the second source server node also. Alright, now let's see what it does. Let's do a small test. Our demo application is a very simple application. You send some string, it says hi or hello along with that string. Let's say ID encode IT. You send it a string, it responds with a hello, that string. This is what we are sending. Right? It responded with this thing. You can see we are in the response tab here. The request tab will contain the request we have sent. The response tab will contain the response we got. This is all XML. If you want to see it in XML, you can actually, this is the response you got from the web service. This is also can be seen in XML. This is a request we sent. This is a SOAP message. Alright, so we have our application running. Now you can see the instances of this composite, which is instance 1 here. You will see the same instance getting reflected here also in SO Infra 2 also. If you go into demo application of SO Infra 2, you will see 1 again over there also. You see this one. Now let's take the WSDL URLs. Go in here, click on this one. This is the WSDL of source server. So take the WSDL. This is on second box. This is 38001. The same way you will have WSDL on first box also, which is 68001. Right, this is 6. Okay. So we got the WSDLs of both. Now, but instead of asking these two things individually, what we are trying to do is we're trying to hit the OHS server, which is in front of these two. So here, OHS server, let's bring up the OHS server and see if you're able to invoke the service. Now the same service actually can be invoked from a browser or a SOAP UI kind of thing. Alright, a SOAP UI, I'm not sure if we have it. Let's simplify it. We're going to use browser at this point. Let's say if you use the same WSDL. Alright. Sometimes the browser also can be used, not always, but you can remove the WSDL part, use only the endpoint. Alright, so it actually gives you a way to send an input and way to get a response. So this is on a browser testing. This may not work always, but it does work sometimes. So if you give a string and port ID, I'm sending it to 68100 invoke. So you got a response, hello encode ID. Alright, return to text page again. Now instead of 6, we can send it to 3. And okay, here also you can say test2 code ID 2, let's say, invoke. You'll see hello encode ID 2. So even 3 is working. Now this is not what we want. We want to be able to send the request through OHS, and it should get distributed across these two. So we're going to bring up the OHS server in front of these two, and then hit the same URL on OHS. So let me go to our box 1. See this one, this is what we are trying. The demo application is on both. OHS is on here, this thing, on this box. So I'm going to bring up the OHS. I have drawn the OHS as if it's spread across 2 boxes, but it's not. OHS is only on this box. So I will start OHS, and OSB will actually hit OHS. OHS in turn will redirect it to any of the source servers. So let's first bring up the OHS server. Our OHS is under middleware 1. So middleware 1, Oracle WT1, instances, instance 1, cd to pins, opmnctl start all. Just check the status. Yeah, everything live. So now OHS is available. Let's hit the same URL on OHS this time. OHS is running on 6. It's 7777. Everything else will remain same. But it's not able to redirect. Okay, 7777. Is that the port number of OHS? Let's check it. We have attached OHS to the enterprise manager, isn't it? It's not showing up here. It should show up. The web tier should show up here. It's not. This is also a common problem you will see a lot of times. In such a case, you can do one thing is redeploy the OHS application. If you see this opmnctl, see this redeploy. When you redeploy, it basically, okay, it failed. That's why. And unable to connect to the admin server. Why is it not able to connect? Isn't admin running? netstat-na grep 7100 or 7000. It's not able to connect to the admin. That's why we are not able to see the OHS on the enterprise manager here. Okay, let's see if the OHS is directly accessible. Okay, it's not able to connect to the backend also. Let's check it. Check the log file. Let's see what's going on. Go into diagnostics, logs, OHS, OHS1, OHS1.log. Something went wrong with this. Somebody changed it. This was changed, guys. See this thing? It's missing. It's corrupted. Go to config, OHS, OHS1, fab first. Seems not to have changed. Timings are pretty same. So I don't think anybody changed it. Let's see. STPT. This is included. Let's see this. Large cluster. It is there. Should go to one of these two directories. Everything seems to be fine. Let's restart the server. No, nothing really seems to be a problem. Trying to hit the enterprise manager. It should go to the admin server.
Anil, that admin port you mentioned there 1001, so 10,001. It should be 7,100.
No, we are hitting the Apache. We don't want to hit admin directly.
But in the conf file, you mentioned I think 10,001 port.
Was it? I think we were not using a cluster. Okay, let me see. Config. we were using something else on that day. Okay, so this is gonna be 7100, the admin server port number. Restart the server. Stop all, start all. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, now it's able to redirect. Now let's check the same thing. OHS to SY cluster. This is OHS. The SY cluster we want to use the endpoint. So let's go ahead. Yeah, so it's redirecting. See this one, now we are hitting the OHS. We're going to one of the source servers. So basically we will be doing a round robin between the source servers. And IT3 send an input. Okay, we got a response back. So now we have actually sent it to the OHS server, the load balancer. Now we're going to integrate this load balancer with OSB. So this is our current setup that we have. If I take this again, so SY is there, SY cluster in front of SY cluster, OHS is there. OSB is what we have. In OSB, we have to create a business service. We have to create a proxy service. Now the OSB integration steps, I'm just going to write down the integration steps. So this is what we're going to do. Let's say this is OSB. Alright, this is your OHS. Behind OHS, we have SY cluster. Right? SY infra 1 or SY infra for source server 1. This is SY infra for source server 2. Right. This is the OHS server. Now we are able to hit anything on OHS. OHS will round robin between these two. Now what we are trying to do is create a business service here, create a proxy service here. We are doing a very simple integration, guys. There can be a lot of complex integrations. Business service. This one is a proxy service. We're going to do a very simple one. So what we will do is the demo application which is available here should be accessible from here. That's our idea. Hence we are virtualizing the demo application which is running on the backend. So the client should be able to access it as if it's a proxy service. So for that, what we'll do is we'll take the WSDL of the demo application. Means from the OHS, we'll be taking the WSDL. The WSDL we will import it into OSB. Once we import into OSB, from the WSDL we create a business service. So the business service here will be calling the OHS, the WSDL of the proxy server. Then it will either send it here or it will send it to here, the demo application. Alright, and then Once the business service is created, we're going to link it to the proxy service. So our steps are pretty simple. This is a very simple integration we're doing. Import the WSDL first. Import the WSDL of demo application into OSB. That's the first step. The second step, create a business service from the WSDL. Third thing, create a proxy service from the business service. We're directly integrating everything. We're not configuring anything, meshes, threshold, nothing doing. We're not configuring anything at all. It's a very simple integration, guys. We're not into OSB, but still we want to know the structure. So demo application here, the WSDL of this demo application comes in here. From the WSDL we create the business service. From the business service we create the proxy service. Proxy service is what is exposed to the outside world. Alright. Now these are the three steps we are going to do. Now these three steps we will do it in an organized way. So the importing WSDL, we will do it, we'll put it into a folder, the WSDL URL. So that will be a WSDL folder. Creating business service also we will do into a folder, that will be a business service folder. The proxy service will also be in a folder, that will be a proxy service. All these things together will form a project in OSB. So here we have a WSDL folder, then you have, this is organizing, the steps are only three. This is business service folder, this is proxy service folder, and all these things together is a project. Let's say a demo project. Demo app project. Alright. So it's only organizing the resources. Where the WSDL that we are going to import is going to be under WSDL folder. The business service we're going to create is going to be under business service folder. The proxy service we are going to create is going to be under proxy service folder. All these folders together will form a project called demo app project. Alright, these are the three steps we're going to do. So let's save it. This is what we're trying to do. Alright. So all these things we're going to do, all the three steps we're going to do from the Osb console. The right side part is already ready. The OHS we have, we're able to contact the demo application from the OHS. Now this is what we're going to do for integration. So let's go ahead and import the WSDL of the demo application into OSB. Now the WSDL of the demo application is this one, but we're going to import it through OHS, which means everything will remain same except this thing. This is going to be OHS URL. We're not hitting the direct source servers, we're hitting the OHS server. OHS server will send it to the available SY. So this is the WSDL. This WSDL we're going to import it into OSB. Now before we go in there, this is our OSB console. You have Project Explorer here. Alright, this is where all your project related things get created. So I'm going to click on Project Explorer. Now while I'm going to do this, you can follow the document. Actually all the steps are given here. I think I will follow the document. It will be easy for you to reproduce. This is all domain creation. This is Osb console access. The document has integration with one server. We are doing a slightly more complicated integration now. We have introduced the OHS in between. But the steps will remain same, guys. Instead of one SOS server, we are doing a OHS server. So let's see. These are the 4 steps we did for integration. Deploy the composite, which we got. Get the WSDL, we got the WSDL. Create a separate folder in OSB console to store WSDL, business service, proxy service. Import the WSDL. Alright, import the WSDL. Create a business service and create a proxy service that routes the request to this business service into proxy service directory. So I'm going to execute the same step so that it will be easy for you to reproduce when you are practicing it. Alright, if I do it a different way, then you will have confusion. So the first step we are already done. We have deployed the composite to Oracle source root cluster. We got the WSDL that can be accessed through OHS. This document assumes only one server. The one that we are doing is a little more advanced. We are implementing it a cluster. So let's go ahead and move on to the second step. The second step is to create the directories. So I'm going to follow the same things. Click on edit button left side and create a new project. Demo application is the project name. Alright, and then in that project I'm going to create 3 folders. That's it. I'm going to add a project, demo application, and create 3 separate folders. One is WSDL, the other one is business service, the third one is proxy service. Those are the 3 folders that are going to be there. Alright, so let's go ahead and do those things. This is our Osb console. This is your project explorer. Alright, click on create. This is more like an edit button. Console. Now let's create a new project like demo application. Add the project. Alright, so the project is added. Now see, you will see it here and you will see it here also. You can click on this, and in this project we have folders, so you can add multiple folders here. So I'm going to add 3 folders. One is WSDL to store the WSDLs. Other one is business service. I'm following the document, guys. Alright, I'm not trying to do anything different than this document. We're trying to keep it simple. Alright, the concept is important. Once you understood the concept, these directory names, folder names can be anything you want. The project names can be anything. So the proxy service, business service are the 2 things I'm creating. So business service, from WSDL we're going to create a business service. We'll be storing it in here, and from the business service we'll be creating a proxy service and we'll be storing it in here. Alright, so you got all the 3 folders. So let's go ahead and import corresponding services and create the corresponding services in each of these directories. So go into WSDL folder. Now in the WSDL folder we are trying to import the WSDL. Now you're going to create a resource here. Let's follow the steps here. Import the WSDL into OSB. We launch the Osb console. This document ends here. That's it. Okay. I think the document is not complete, guys. Yeah, I think I remember now. The document is not complete. Okay, let me do the steps. These are the steps I'm going to do. These three: import the WSDL, create a business service from the WSDL, create a proxy service from the business service. The steps are simple. Let me do one after other. First thing, import the WSDL. So we are importing the WSDL into WSDL directory folder here. So click on WSDL. You are creating a resource. So select the drop down here. You are creating a resource from a URL. Don't select this interface. This is not an interface. This is a download more of. You are creating a resource from URL because WSDL is a URL that we have. So select resources from URL. Give the path, which is this thing. Alright. Copy paste. Resource name, just give that demo app WSDL. This is a WSDL. On to next. Alright, this actually went ahead and it picked up these two things, guys. Alright, it actually downloaded the schemas, everything. After we gave the URL, means the backend should be running. It will try to contact whatever we have given, this server, and it will download the XML. Alright, the schema, everything will be downloaded. Once it's downloaded, it will ask you to import, so import it. So it's imported. Alright, import successful. Activate. This is, when you're activating, this has a feature like you can actually do a description kind of thing, WSDL import or anything, or else you can simply submit. It will activate everything. Alright, so the WSDL, these are configuration changes. These are all activation, what is done, when it is done, all that stuff. So if you go into WSDL, so we have this thing. This is what the resource we have created in WSDL folder. Alright, so there is a WSDL, there is an XML schema that was downloaded. Now the next thing, from this WSDL we are trying to create a, let's see our diagram. Create a business service from the WSDL. So the first thing we did was we imported a WSDL in here. We are creating a business service and linking it with the WSDL that we have imported into OSB. So let's create a business service. The business service will go into business service folder. Alright, the one that we have created. So we'll go into business service folder and we'll create a business service from the WSDL that we just now imported. So let's go into business service here. Click on business service. Create again, lock it. Alright, say this one, create again. All these things are resources, guys. So you're creating a business service here. So select a business service. I'll give a name to the business service. Let's call it demo business service. Description, I'm not giving anything. So this one, create a new service. This is a WSDL web service. Now you browse it and select the WSDL just now we have imported. This is a WSDL we have imported, select it. Alright, these two things get installed. Alright, there is no selection here. These are the two things, bindings and ports, everything. Alright, submit. That's it. These two things came in already. Now once you have created a business service, or means once you have selected this thing, you can do a lot of customization by going on next, or else you can go to last and submit. Let's go to next and see what's the customization. See, if you have a load balancing, you can do a load balancing here. Alright, if that's one of the pooled services. You can add multiple services, means existing URI is this one. We don't have multiple URIs. If there are multiple URIs, you can actually load balance across the servers, which means instead of OHS, we can actually add the clustered nodes. Our retry count is also given, retry interval, alright, application errors or anything can be retried. So these kind of settings can be done in OSB, which gives really really makes your backend application error prone. Small issues like network issues, slightly not available for some time, that kind of issues are actually buffered by OSB, all these settings. On to next, let's see what this is. This is HTTP transport configuration. There is a timeout, connection timeout, authentication, if anything, all that things can be set up here. It's not necessary or mandatory to configure all these things, but these are various features that are available. WSI compliance, I'm not really sure what that is. Yeah.
Anil,
Yes.
Anil, quick question. In the last class when you asked if we have to make sure that the WSDL goes through, the WSDL access goes through the OSB, once people have access to the WSDL, they can call anyway from anywhere, right? Any method they can do it. To restrict them to go through the OSB, I think you said of putting a user ID password, you can do it.
No, even for your question, you're assuming that they know the SOA IP port.
Instead we give it to WSDL to a client and he pass on, somebody pass on to somebody, but
No,
we
they
don't
can't.
want that person to, we don't want the second person to use that this service. So is there any way we can prevent it?
That kind of in that case, username password is one thing mandate. You are basically selling a service, and the service username password is same. In that case, individual users should have the username password.
Okay, so
That's
that can be configured here?
No, we don't want to configure that username passwords in here. You need to have an external LDAP kind of thing to do that managing thing.
Okay.
That would be too much managing of, the user management will be too much, and this is not a product to do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The user management we need to handle somewhere in a much more robust product that is actually designed for that, because let's say in your case you said you give it to one, that guy passes on to another. Now that kind of setup requires, let's say, if there are multiple IPs accessing the same IP, username, using the same username password, you should disable the username password. The multiple logins should not be enabled, and users' passwords have certain expiry time, because they are buying the service for only for certain time. Then they have packages, level of access, and a lot of things for user management, that is, and service level management. OSB or SOA cannot do that. These guys will simply take a username password. At max they can do is they can check whether that username password is correct or not.
So even that basic just one user ID password can be done here.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, just one user ID password. But that means that's not in here that you do. You have this is somewhere you are supplying a username password. The setup has to be done where your service is there. The demo application is where the service is, means on SOA. So OSB cannot simply attach a username password to any service. The SOA can attach.
Okay.
So we will see it in OWSM how to attach a simple username password.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. So here there are a couple of other features also that can be added here, like other MTOM support, XOP. You don't really have to know this thing, even I'm not sure to know about all these features. I think based on a requirement you can go ahead and explore these features. But just to show you all these features are various things that are available. These are the general features we have set up. These are transport related. These are HTTP related. These are bindings. These are message handlings. Right? All these things, once they are done, save it. So activate the changes. Submit.
Anil, quick question. This is Pawan. For this kind of setup, do you think we can integrate SiteMinder for this kind of infrastructure setup?
SiteMinder is for monitoring, isn't it?
No, this is for authorization authentication both.
We can do, yes.
Role level access.
Yes, we can do that. Yes, SiteMinder can do that.
So in case SiteMinder going to set up, we have to do it in front of at the OSB level, or do you think we have to do it at OHS level?
OSB level you have to do it. Even before it comes to OSB, it has to be authenticated. A SiteMinder either has to allow or deny a user before they access the proxy service. It has to be before OSB.
Okay, so would SiteMinder be more complicated for this setup, or do you think having OWSM would be much more easier to implement?
SiteMinder has better features anyway in a given day, because that is a product meant for that. OWSM is more for the backend access policies and all that stuff. Logging policies, security related policies, internal authorization policies there. But SiteMinder is more from an external user management. Means you will map certain users, let's say all silver member users are mapped to user 1 in OWSM, or role 1 in OWSM. So what happens is the initial authentication happens at SiteMinder. The SiteMinder decides, okay, this guy is a silver membership. The mapping will happen to silver member in OWSM. That gives a specific privileges when they are accessing the service. So the mapping has to be done in that case. Means the membership validation, the user time frame validation has to be done at SiteMinder, and it will pass on certain credentials that will result in another role in OWSM on the backend. With that role comes certain privileges. So you will be using a SiteMinder in the front end, and on the back end you will be using OWSM to map it. OWSM is for internal web logic rules and policies and users. The front end users, we don't want to directly manage it. You have Oracle Identity Manager kind of thing, like SiteMinder. You have OIM, Oracle Identity Management, and Oracle Access Management, OAM, all that stuff. Those also can be used, but they will be working along with OWSM. OWSM is what manages WebLogic or SOA, and on the front end, the user management has to be done using another, like the one that you said, SiteMinder or Access Management and Identity Management softwares, and you'll be integrating that softwares with the OWSM on the backend. Now the OWSM you can choose to put it on OSB or SOA.
At a SiteMinder level, we can load the policy, right? And based on the policy, you can put restrictions whether you can access what kind of page, URL, URI, or anything like that, right? So
yeah, the policy is still attaches it, links it to something on the back end, right? OWSM cannot directly manage WebLogic, isn't it? WebLogic does not know anything about this thing, SiteMinder.
Okay.
So SiteMinder by itself cannot talk to WebLogic. SiteMinder has to talk to a security component of WebLogic, which is OWSM. So there is always a mapping. If SiteMinder says the policy is XYZ, it also says And now please talk to OWSM, and the corresponding policy would be ABC. So it's the OWSM ABC policy that is actually getting implemented at the backend. But the mapped one is SiteMinders XYZ policy. So front-end policies are more towards user management. The back-end policies are for access privileges.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead, and so we created a business service here. Alright, so the business service, and this business service is actually linked to the visitor. So coming back to the last step here, now the third one, create a proxy service from the business service. Now the proxy service, we decided we'll put it into this one. It's not necessary that you need to have this folder structure, guys. This is just for convenience, right? So that we are organized. You can actually put everything into a single one. So click on proxy service. Again, we're going to create a proxy service in here. This is a proxy service this time. Earlier we have created business service. Even before that we have imported a resource from a URL which was our visitor. Now we are creating a proxy service. This is the front end of OSB. So let's call it demo proxy service. Now this proxy service we are creating from an existing service. So that existing service is a business service. So we are directly calling a business service from the proxy service. This is a direct linking, and it's not usually this way. In all the OSB, a lot of things happen between proxy and business. The content that is incoming in gets changed. Alright, and there may be multiple business services, and the proxy service may have some conditions that one of the business services gets called depending on the content. So here we are doing a very simple integration. So our proxy directly calls business, business directly calls OHS. So we are creating a proxy service from an existing business service. So here, select it, browse the business service. This is our business service, demo business service. Submit it. We can go to next. Next. We're not doing anything, but just to go through those options. Save it here. So this is your demo proxy service. Activate the changes. Submit it. Alright. So that's your proxy service created. So you have everything ready. That's your integration is pretty much done. Create a proxy service from business service is done. Now all that is left out is you need to hit the proxy service. You should be able to access the demo application. So the proxy service calls the business service invokes OHS. OHS will redirect it to one of the backend servers. Alright. So that's what we're going to do. Mute yourself, guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit the proxy service. Now for the proxy service,
last time I think we talked last time we thought of like no need to have the OHS in the middle, right? Like it is overhead.
Yeah, we can actually redirect business service to actually load balance between these two. That also can be done. Okay. But because we have OHS, we are also testing that one also.
Okay.
When we created a business service, on the second stage we were given a choice. Means if you want to load balance in a round robin fashion. At that point we can add these two, right? Load balance between these two directly from business service. That's also possible without OHS. But here, because we have OHS, so we want to use OHS also here. So that's our proxy service. Now we're going to test it. For the testing thing, that is, you see this bug here. This is a test console of OSB. So we'll be doing the test console from here. Alright, so we'll be doing a test from here. So launch this one. This is OSB Test Console. Right, what we are doing is we are testing the proxy service. This is our proxy service. So in demo application you have a proxy service. This is a test console. Alright, this is from. Now the payload you're going to give here. Encode OSB1, let's say. Now the transport will be seen attachment, execute it. If everything is correct, it should respond back to us using hello OSB. Hello OSB encode something. This is the input string we have sent, request document. Alright. Encode OSB1 is what we have sent. The response document is this one. Yeah, see this thing. This is the response document. This is your hello encode OSB1. Receiving request. This is actually the transportation or the transformation across various stages. Added this thing. Message ID is this. Routed to demo business service. It was routed to business service with all these things. At every point you know what is happening. Now this is not really these things, but you can actually see everything here. So let's do it one more test. Send a string. Encode OSB100. Execute. This is a request that we have sent. Encode OSB100. You got a response. Hello encode OSB100. Our request actually transported through a lot of layers here. This is where we are. This invoked a business service, which in turn hit the OHS. OHS has actually redirected. You will see for each of the requests that we have sent, you must see an instance. See here, if you go back, this is our SYR, right? So you will see about 3 or 4 instances. Log. We tested it 4 or 5 times. So code ADM and code ADM mounted 3. You see, these are all the various instances. Whenever we are hitting anything, the instance is getting created. This was originally created. These two were created when we hit it from OHS. These two, I think they were created just now. The timelines are here. Timelines are a little skewed, you see. These timelines are from a different box. This is 4th Feb 13, 4th Feb 12, 26. These are wrong timings. Let's hit OSB one more time. Let's see the instance ID. Close it. Let's hit OSB again. Execute. Execute. Let's go back here. Still processing.
Is there any restriction on the length of the input?
Possible. Possible. Let's say. Yeah, there's a restriction, I think, application level. Okay, so now let's look at this thing. To load, let's see the instance got created. Where's the instance? It's not synchronized yet, probably. Let's go in here. I think 4 is the one that was created. Syncing is taking too long. You see, these instances on this are different. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 10.0.0.4, whereas this one has different set of instances. Ideally they should be same. The MDS update and syncing it across these two SOA cluster instances is taking time. So now we're able to see 4. Yeah, now everything seems to be same. 4 is there, so let's hit one more time just to confirm it. It should be 5 this time. OSB console. Last thing. And code 80. Execute. So we got a response hello and code 80. Let's see the instances. Nothing reflected. Nothing reflected. Nothing here also. Let's go here. The 5th one is here. Ideally, if we click on 5th one is also here. Just the reload is not actually loading anything. I think that's the problem. Only if you click on this, that's when it actually is showing up anything. Click on this, click on this. Let's hit one more time. Execute. Hello 10. Click on this. This time it did not come to second one. It should go. It's not that. Count is 10 increased here, but we're not able to see it here. Still not updated. Okay, that's anyway, that will get updated. That's not a problem. I'm just trying. That's your integration, guys. Any questions? Do we actually install OSB? We set up OSB domain, we started the servers, and then we actually were able to access something on the back end through a proxy service here. The service name, you should get a WSDL somewhere here. Should see a WSDL somewhere here. This message flow. This is a WSDL. You can export this jar file directly and execute it as far as I know. This is saving a file. Should have a WSDL somewhere for this one. This is a WSDL name. So says this is the name of the proxy service. Again, we are back to this place. This is the endpoint URI. Yeah. This is your this thing. So you should be able to access this endpoint URI. Let's see. Hit the OSB 192.168.1.183. What's the OSB this thing? Server name 11,000 11,100. Shift insert. Add request. It's not accessible outside, but this is what it is. This is how you will access the endpoint. The WSDL should be something like this. This one. This is the WSDL of your OSB. You see this thing? This is the WSDL. Endpoint URI and WSDL. And you can use this WSDL in any calling service, any calling application. So it's available here. If you want to see the WSDL of the proxy, endpoint of the proxy, this is the endpoint of the proxy. You have it in the configuration detail. Go into proxy service, wherever is your proxy service. So you have, this is your proxy service. Go in here, right? Click on the proxy service configuration, and you have the endpoint URI. Attach a WSDL to the end of it, you see the WSDL. Attach a WSDL to the end of it, you see a WSDL. Alright. Okay. Any other questions?
Anil, quick thing, like why we have those two, like a proxy as well as a business, like can't.
Between proxy and business, you can do a lot of things. Let's say you you receive an XYZ type of input. And based on the input, you want to invoke multiple business services. It's not necessary that there is only one business service here. So let's say you have a business service here, you have a business service here. So for example, if you are in US and you are invoking the proxy service, the proxy service may attach a field like country is US and invoke a business service 1.
Okay.
Or if you are in India, the proxy service may attach additional field like country is India and invoke another business service.
Okay.
So the end user need not actually add that additional entry like the country. It actually picks up from the IP address probably, the application can do that. Picks up the IP address, attach that additional field and invoke the corresponding business service.
Okay. So there is a customization you can do between both.
Proxy and business, yes. A lot of things, yes. Any other questions, guys?
Anil, can you just quickly bypass the OHS and add two visual service and business service?
Okay, let's do that. The business service, we're going to edit it. On the business service, go to the next one. We have to add the visitors, so let's add the visitors. Add the visitors of both. Add a visitor from this is one visitor of our cluster 1. So visitor so one node 1, let's say. Import it. Load another. Load the second one. This is the second one. Go in here. This is our second box 3. Okay. This resource is visitor Suva node 2. Next, import. Okay, so we got visitors imported. So demo is anyway there. So we have imported 1 and 2. Now let's go to business. Let's create another business service, or let's edit it. Select it. Edit. Let's first activate the changes. Okay, now we'll go to business service. Edit it. Edit it. Browse the endpoints. Okay. It basically doesn't allow us. We're not able to change it. Let's cancel it. I'm going to delete it, or let's create a fresh one. I'm going to create a fresh business service this time. From a visitor, browse. One I'm adding. What? Submit. Next. Resource name, let's say business service load balance. Next. Here you're going to add it. The current one is this one, 8100. Let's add one more here. Add. Let's add the second endpoint that we have, which is 3. Alright, everything else will remain same except instead of 6 it's going to be 3. Alright, add it. Okay, those two are added. One is 6, other one is 3. Alright, everything else remains same. On to next. We do a round robin here. That's fine. Next. Save. Activate. Okay, now you have a business service which is load balanced. Let's create a proxy service out of this business service. Create proxy service. Let's call it proxy service. Load balanced. This from a business service. Browsed. This is the demo business service, load balanced business service. Select. On to next. The rest of the things will remain same. Save it. Activate. Submit. That's it. I got the business service now. Call this business service. Invoke it. Sound a string. Execute it. You have a hello ASF. Yeah, you're able to load balance. Yeah, that. You wanted to see something specific?
Can you okay, fine, that's it.
Is there anything specific you wanted to see, or want to see what just whether it's working or not?
I just wanted to see the configuration, but since it's updating in the both servers, so if we bring down one also, the request will go to other servers. So no issue.
Yeah, it will load balance. Means if it is not working, it will basically go to the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, guys?
Anil, if you had to load test these things, is there any open source
SOAP UI
tool available?
Load UI.
Load UI?
Yeah. A lot of people use JUnit Load UI.
JUnit I know, but it is only just for the HTTP.
Yeah,
like,
most of the times, yes.
Just for the web server, right?
Yeah, most of the times it can be used with this one also, but a better tool would be use Load UI.
So even it goes up to the application level to...
Yes, you can write your test cases.
Load UI. You mean like not loading only the web server, but like doing all the whatever the transaction, like what we are doing right now, like giving a input, some type of input.
It invokes a web service. Your load test ideally involves invoking it multiple users multiple times, isn't it? That it can do. Yeah, it can do that. Load UI is basically meant for services load test.
Load UI, okay.
You see this thing, distributed testing, SOAP UI integration.
Is it a open source? Like you can.
This is open source. Yes.
Okay. So how good is with the like a load runner? Like a load runner is licensed one.
Load runner, any given day there is no competition.
Okay.
For performance testing, load runner is probably the number one. They can't beat it.
Okay.
But not everything necessarily need to be the best. So you can still do a very good testing with these things also.
Load. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions, guys? Okay, there are no questions. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll be talking the next chapter.
Anil, this is Dinesh.
Yes, Dinesh.
Anil, say, how we will be accessing the other server, the other node which you have been creating clusters, right? The other OSBs and
you can't
created from.
You can't access that OSB. That's a separate. That's my laptop, basically.
Okay.
That's a heavy setup. What you can do is this entire integration part you can do on the cloud itself with a single server. So what you got to do is you have a SOA domain with single node. So one admin and one SOA server running. Then you create a OSB on the same cloud server. One admin, one OSB server. Then you integrate it directly.
Okay.
Only thing we have here is a second box with the SOA cluster. That's it.
Okay.
Apart from that, OSB can be done on the first box itself. So you do everything on a single box. It will be a little overloaded, but you will be still able to do it. We did that in the last batch. I just wanted to take it to the next level this time. So I've actually put in a much more a larger environment. But if you want to do it, you can still do it on your clone with multiple boxes. Set up the clone on multiple boxes, set up a LAN. That's complicated, means you can do it later, but for the initial practice, do it one source server and one OSB server, integrate direct. You can put OHS also. OHS will not put too much load on anything, so you can have the entire setup but single nodes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And Anil, just to remind you about the videos.
I know. That's the problem. I'm not able to get.
Actually, some few sessions I missed it, and I'm unable to move further. That's what I'm stuck.
I know the problem. I'll try to do something today, Dinesh. At least,
Yeah, sure.
if not all of them, I'll fix some of them and upload it. I'm really sorry about it.
Anil, when you do it, can you do the yesterday one too?
Yeah.
Yesterday,
Something day before yesterday also is not uploaded. I'll upload all those things. Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay, cool. If there's nothing, I can drop off. I'll see you tomorrow same time. Yep. Thanks very much, guys.